All right, friends, check this out. This video is going to be uploaded to my YouTube series, Cracking the Code, How to End the Financial Racket of the Family Court System. I haven't posted on there in probably close to 10 months, maybe a year. Things are going really well for me, and I'm having a relationship with my daughters, and I've basically stopped allowing the court system, the family court racket that is, from prevailing in my case, or at least I've delayed it, but I'm still in it. So I posted a video on Facebook the other day. I'm going to post a link to this on my personal Facebook page. I don't accept the general public on there, but I have an engagement with the public on my YouTube page here. I don't monetize it. You don't have to hit like and subscribe. You can if you want. I don't care. I don't need to monetize anything that I'm doing by spreading free information for the general public, moms and dads who are dealing with the family court system. So I posted a video a couple days ago when a light bulb went off, and I started to realize that after listening to all these great parents out there, I'm going to name drop Mark Ludwig, Robert Vaughn, Robert Garza out of Texas, many of these other fathers who are dissecting the fraud within the family court system. I learned from all of you, and hopefully those of you who are watching this video can learn from me. So over a year and a half ago, I went through, actually almost 2 years ago now, my ex-wife and I were in child support court in front of a hearing officer, a magistrate. In this case, her name is Stephanie Madelon. Everything that I file is a public view anyway, so I'll just mention names. And in that matter, she found that a forensic CPA's 472-page report, a forensic CPA that I hired, report on my ex-wife's income and my income at the time was not credible, and yet the very little or nil information that my ex-wife provided at the time, and we both had attorneys for this hearing, her information was somehow credible. All right. I'm not going to rehash my disagreement with those recommendations, but what happened was the magistrate, the hearing officer, made a very inflated income determination on my income for the purpose of calculating child support and arrears owed to my ex-wife, which there weren't really any arrears. I'd always paid child support on time. I always took care of my kids. But there was some stuff there. And then there was a much lower, deflated, reduced level of income determination, which basically caused the court to recommend to the higher court, to the judge, that I should take my children off of my private PPO, Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance, and allow for the mother to enroll or keep on a state payer funded Medicaid health insurance program through the state of Florida. Like, man, that doesn't make any sense. I'm literally trying to support my kids, but why is this magistrate, this hearing officer, assigning two completely different income determinations based upon supposedly the same information? How do you do that? How do you say I make this for the purpose of support in arrears, and I only make this for the purpose of enrolling or causing to enroll my ex, the mother of my kids, on a state-supported funding program? Well, because of the likes of somebody like Mark Ludwig, for example, and I don't think he minds me dropping his name, and a lot of the other information I've learned about the 1975 Social Security Act and Title D4 reimbursement funding to states, I figured it out. Many states, it's not just Florida, but in my case, I'm a Florida a person litigating in Broward County. That's in the 17th Judicial Circuit. It looks like states, either through policy and training or ignorance or what have you, I don't think it's ignorance, they're committing acts of fraud against the federal taxpayer and the federal government. You see, this is how it works. When a obligee, the recipient of child support, puts the children on some sort of state-funded program, it triggers the activation of Title 4D funding to the state. The state gets reimbursed roughly 2/3 to the dollar spent in their child support enforcement efforts. So the more cases that a state can assign to receive Title 4D funding, the more money they make from the federal government. It's Medicaid fraud. So I decided to do a couple things about it. Number one, I drafted a civil complaint for violations of civil rights under 42 United States Code 1983 and the False Claims Act 31 United States Code Section 3729. It's right here, and today's Memorial Day. Federal courthouse is closed, but it gets filed tomorrow. Okay? And I'm going to read to you exactly what I wrote. And then I have a couple of other letters I'm going to share with you guys. And I'm doing this all because I could talk to a therapist at the VA and get this off my chest, but I want you guys to learn from it, okay? Comes now plaintiff Jonathan Hart, pro se, and files these civil rights and statutory complaints against Magistrate Stephanie Madelon, a judicial officer of the Circuit Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit. I talk about the jurisdiction and venue, 28 U.S.C., 31 U.S.C., okay? We talk about the parties. It's the magistrate and myself. Defendant Stephanie Madelon is a magistrate judge in the Circuit Court of the 17th. Now we're going to get into the facts, Section 3. In the course of presiding over plaintiff's child support and visitation matter, defendant Magistrate Madelon issued two materially inconsistent income determinations. One determination artificially inflated plaintiff's income for purposes of assessing arrears and ongoing support obligations. The other deflated plaintiff's income in order to relieve him of providing private medical insurance, thus qualifying his children for Medicaid, a publicly funded program. These contradictory rulings were not supported by evidence on record and disregarded a forensic CPA report submitted to the court. The net effect was to generate wrongful financial obligations on plaintiff while also triggering eligibility for federal funds under Title 4D of the Social Security Act, an intentional manipulation which directly benefited the state of Florida. Plaintiff alleges these actions were arbitrary, capricious, and devoid of due process, undertaken under color of state law and designed to unlawfully trigger federal reimbursement through false pretenses. These acts violated plaintiff's fundamental rights under the 5th and 14th Amendments and resulted in harm including financial loss, emotional distress, and impairment of parental rights. And then I go into the causes of action. Violation of false claims, violation of due process, deprivation of rights, and false statements. I'm not going to go through and read the entire thing here with you guys, but you get the point, and you can reach out to me if you want help putting something similar together if this scenario is true for you. Okay? So that's the federal complaint. Then, because I certainly don't want to litigate in front of the same magistrate over and over again. I don't trust her. She doesn't have credibility. So I filed a verified motion for disqualification and recusal of Magistrate Stephanie M. Madelon. So I filed that. That's this document. Okay? Got that filed. Well, it will be filed tomorrow. I can technically do it now because I have e-filing, but I don't have on the PACER system, which is the federal system, to file a federal lawsuit. I got to go do it in person, and they do that on purpose so that the federal law clerk can make sure that she's crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and they love me up there. They're very nice people. Now, here's the important one, and I'll keep you guys posted on how this goes. I have drafted, I will file tomorrow, a FOIA request, and here's who it goes to. It's the Department of Children and Families Freedom of Information Act office off of 330 C Street in Washington, D.C. And the subject is FOIA request Title 4D reimbursement and incentive records, and I list my particular Florida family law case. To whom it may concern, pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, 5 United States Code, Section 552, I am requesting access to records held by the United States Department of Health and Human Services, Administration for Children and Families, and the Office of Child Support Enforcement, OCSE, pertaining to federal Title 4D enforcement reimbursements, incentive payouts, audits, or funding determinations related to my case. And I spelled out my case. Specifically, I am seeking any federal reimbursements or incentive payments made to the state of Florida based on collections, enforcement actions, or administrative activity related to this Title 4D case. any OSCE, Office of Child Support Enforcement Office findings, financial summaries, or communications with the Florida Department of Revenue that reference or rely on the case identified above. Any portions of OSCE-157 or OCSE 396 reports that were impacted by or include data derived from this case. Okay, and I said I'm a private citizen requesting this information. All right, and then I signed it in any other color than black, so they have a handwritten signature. All right, so there are ways to elicit change in the federal racket that is the family court system here in this country. When you're not a prosecutor, it's sometimes hard unless one of these violations of due process or one of these possibilities of fraud have happened directly to you, because then you can be the direct complainant. I'm going to keep up the fight, guys. I'm doing this for the future. It's not really necessarily going to organically help my case too soon, but I'm doing this for future moms and dads who are getting hosed by a fraudulent system. I'm exposing the fraud and naming names, and all I can do is, here in my jurisdiction, here in the state of Florida, I can call it out. But this is definitely fraudulent activity where bad actors, at least in my state in Florida, are defrauding the federal government of funds by making multiple different income determinations based upon the same presentation of facts and evidence in the same hearing. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm putting this magistrate on notice. These will be filed tomorrow. I guarantee it. I wanted to keep you guys abreast of what's going on, or apprised of what's going on. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. Take care. Be safe. God bless.